This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal. Today is Friday, October 17th, 2025. The title of this rant is, does Trump have the cards to win this shutdown? So, a little play on words because he's meeting Zelensky today. And last time he was in the White House, Trump said he didn't have the cards to win the war. Guess what? He's got the cards to win the war now. But to get to the shutdown itself, can he end the shutdown and be a winner? And I'm just saying, I don't know. Because right now, what we have here is 8 votes in the Senate. None of them passed. They didn't change a single thing in the bill that they wanted to have passed. They don't have the votes to do it. They could do the filibuster. Maybe they could do the filibuster if they want, but they don't really want to because they know that if they're not in power, then they'll use the filibuster because for the last 150 years, the Republicans, or who were once Republicans way back when, have always used the filibuster to stunt progress all the way along. So, that's not a good way for them to, if they can't do it that way, then what do they have to do? They have to negotiate, and that means it needs to be give and take. But at the same time, the rich, and I should say emphatically, the immorally rich of the patrons of the Republicans right now, they want to continue to take as much money as possible from the average working American. They want to screw the average working American. And what they have now is not enough. They want more. And what we really call that is reparations to the rich, because basically since the early 1970s, it's estimated that upwards of $50 trillion has trickled upwards from the average working American to the rich and to the super rich, and they still want it all, and they will not let the Republicans, get away with this. So how can they negotiate and have give and take when the only thing they can do is basically maybe increase the taxes back to the rich, which they don't want to do? So, and guess what? Many of the Republicans, they know that these policies suck, that they hurt the average working American, and it could be very difficult for them to win re-election in 2026. That's provided that there is a 2026 election. That's something for another day. And they also know that all of those things and the big, beautiful bill hurt Americans. And it is a winning issue for the Democrats because when you always say, which is the absolute truth, that the billionaires are running the show and you're getting screwed, so you need to vote, that's a good reason for people to vote. Also, right now, Trump is underwater, let's just say, on the top 10 or 15 policy issues of the day. It doesn't make any difference what it is. He's underwater. He's underwater by 40, he is high on all of these 10 or 12 or 15 issues is 45%. He's in the mid to upper 30s on some of those policy issues. So what does that mean? Coming up in the 2026 election, if there is a 2026 election, they can't run on Trump's popularity. They can't run on Trump's policies. They're kind of screwed. So the Republicans are in a position where they could lose and lose badly. So they have to steadfastly hold to this shutdown as long as they possibly could. Now, when you ever do have anything, everyone's going to be called a winner, and that's the way it is. But we have to see for what this really is. The Republicans and Trump do not have the cards to come out of this thing as a winner. All right. So now, what's going to happen after that, or what's happening now? And we can see that with the incredibly vile description of Democrats as terrorists, as Hamas, etc. So what do we have to watch for? We have to watch for more, let's just say, immoral and illegal maneuvers, let's just use that, by the Trump administration, because basically on any given day, there's an impeachable offense by the Trump administration. But we're going to look for continued immoral and illegal things by the Trump administration. And let's also remember that all this stuff that he's doing overseas, he is not doing any of that stuff. They're just telling everyone that he's getting credit for doing all of it, that he did all this work. He didn't do any of the work, right? So, but what is that? That's a diversion. Everything about this is a diversion. It's a diversion from Jeffrey Epstein, and it's a diversion from opening the government. And I'm asking my sisters and brothers who are on the conservative side to come with us on this, because we need to open the government. We need to have efficient and effective government, and we are never going to get that from this current administration.